Final preparations are almost complete, my lord. There stands the culmination of 5 long years of painstaking work, but all our efforts will be vindicated when the Emperor's vision becomes reality. At last, we have the power to purge this land of its false gods. We shall give the ignorant children of Eorzea the security and stability they so desperately crave, and which their spineless leaders have so palpably failed to provide. As you say, my lord, rest assured, our engineers will not rest until the weapon is fully armed and operational. Riditon, you depart for Castrum Occidens at midnight. You will command the Western Front in Vilebrand. The Eorzeans will attempt to interfere with our plans. You will see that they do not. My lord, if this be your will, I shall carry it out to the best of my ability. I live only to serve the Empire. Yet, forgive my impudence, but is it proper to give command of half of our forces to a... I have given you nothing, Praefectus. You have earned it. That will be all. Dismissed. Yes, my lord. My quarters. 1 hour. Yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like. It's a booty call. Yeah, they make no qualms about the fact that the two of them are a couple. Or at least are getting it on. I don't know if they're really a couple. She's completely obsessed and in love with him, for sure. Which you'll find out more later, but obviously it's reciprocal to some degree because, you know, he's giving her the order to be in his quarter in 1 hour for party time. Looking for group. He's the crystal bear. She's the primal. Terrible, I'm sorry. My purpose here is to reconnoiter Garlean activity along Albathia's spine. Owing to this, I have the honor of being acquainted with Y'shtola. Now, the report of the Imperial airship's emergency landing came to us by way of Decimal Darkhold, situated to the west. Our man stationed at the entrance, a knight named Bryselt, may be able to tell you more, so as to expedite your mission, I shall furnish you with a letter of introduction. I pray that you will soon be reunited with your comrades. May the Fury grant you strength. Alright, this is Decimal Darkhold, which we're not going to do on the videos because there's no reason, and it's a terrible dungeon. You stand before Decimal Darkhold, the subterranean fortress excavated by the great Ishgardian house of the same name. None but authorized personnel may enter. Good, because I don't want entering. I hate this place. A letter from Lord Portalane. So you have come about the Imperial airship. According to our scouts, the vessel had scarce touched the ground when a pair of men, captives by all accounts, burst forth and bolted. Imperial soldiers have since been sighted in the area seeking to recapture them. What? The captives are like to be your friends, you say? Then let us pray that they are yet a step ahead of their pursuers. The emergency landing reportedly took place near the Aurum Vale, situated south and west of here. I suggest you take your search there. Seek out a knight named Piermons. He should be able to assist you. So here's the truth about... We're just going to talk about this now. Here's the truth about level 40 to 50 in Final Fantasy back in the day. It sucked. That's pretty much the truth of it. Back in the day, when this was the game, there was no other stuff to do. Like I showed you before, for whatever reason, Stone Vigil at 41 is the last story quest. Again, I argue that originally Pharaoh Syros was probably supposed to be in the mix there. You had two other dungeons, and they're Dezimal Darkhold and Aurum Vale. And they're both horrible. They're two of the worst dungeons in the entire game. Not only in the aspect of the fact that they're just really not fun to do, because they're just not fun to do, but also because at the time, not now, but at the time, with the gear scores that most people had, they were, how do I put this politely? They were poop. The gear scores at the time, you can see I'm at 60, right? But I'm wearing all this blue stuff that you would have not earned until well past finishing ARR. Like, you had to go earn this later on. So really my gear score would be probably closer to like 40. These were hard dungeons. They were just not easy at all. They were not easy dungeons at all, and nobody liked doing them. The way they were designed, it was very easy to get overrun by mobs on the way to bosses, and then the bosses were good mechanics. There were good mechanic fights, but they were strong and hard. Particularly Aurum Vale was bad because when ARR first came out, there was only one DPS class that had any kind of real AoE, and that was Black Mage. Monk and Dragoon were both single target specialists. They did not have AoE attacks like they do today. There was no machinist, there was no dancer, there was no samurai, there was no rogue. So your choices were those two, Archer, which also was mostly single target, but there was a big reason that Archer was a bad DPS, and that big reason was Limit Break. A lot of people don't know this, but Limit Break for Archer back in the day at launch, your limit break was a healer limit break. That's right, not a DPS limit break, a healer limit break. Archers and bards were never allowed to use limit break. It was awful. They had some AoE, but it was very limited. And so the only real AoE specialist that there was at the time was Black Mage. And then of course there was Summoner, which again did not really have AoE. Summoner has puts dots up, damage over time abilities. So not only did they not have AoE, but they don't have like burst damage either. And the problem with Aurum Vale is that you fight in the boss fights, you would have, well, not all the boss fights, but in the last fight, you had a moment where the boss is going to summon a bunch of adds, and you have a limited amount of time to take the adds down before they overwhelm everybody. And you could only clear it. You could only clear it with a Black Mage. If you did not have a Black Mage, you could not clear it. And that was true for a long time. So Aurum Vale was a dungeon that nobody liked doing. Because, except maybe Black Mages loved doing it because they were like, I'm wanted! But nobody else liked it. There were a lot of times I remember where when Duty Roulette got added to the game, you would get Aurum Vale, and if you did not have a black mage, everybody would just drop group. They would just, yep, this is a waste of time. And they would just drop group. The Imperial airship? I saw it approach to land with mine own 2 eyes. I hastened to the landing site, arriving just in time to see the vessel take off to the skies again, and not before it had deployed a detachment of troops. Gruff orders were being barked, and there was an air of consternation about them. There were prisoners aboard the airship, it seems, and they seized the opportunity to flee when the vessel was forced to land. The Garleans who were deployed formed search parties and proceeded to scour the wilderness. In order to alert our forces, I returned to my post. To find evidence that someone had been here in my absence. Whoever they were, they tried the door to no avail and decided to go elsewhere. In all, I marked 2 sets of footprints, one large and one small. If you search the area, mayhap you will be able to follow the prints to their owners. Well, if you weren't standing there, what about you? Did you see anything? You guys are useless. So just really quick to finish wrapping up. So then the other dungeon is Dismal Darkhold. Aurum Vale is the higher of the 2, I believe. Let me see if I'm right. Yeah. Aurum Vale is the higher of the 2, so you could run Decimal a couple times. There's an argument about which one of them's worse. I think Aurum Vale's worse, but neither of them is bad now. Like now they're like a cakewalk, but back in the day, because there was no AoE, because you had no gear, because it was super easy to get run over, and because only white mages could cure poisons, Aurum Vale was a nightmare, and nobody wanted to do it. So even if you did Decimal Darkhold, which was also not very fun, even if you did Decimal Darkhold around level 46, 47, you needed to start doing Aurum Vale to level, and nobody wanted to do it. Ever. So people did Fates instead. And I'll show you the Fate grind area later, but the dungeons were terrible. And to this day, people don't like those 2 dungeons so much that Square Enix has actually added reasons for you to have to do them because people would not do them. So if you're doing your grand company, if you want to earn ranks in your grand company, at some point they make you go do both Darkhold and Aurum Vale in order to gain ranks in your company so that you can unlock other stuff. That's how much people didn't, and that got added in later on because the grand company stuff got added later on. So that's how bad it was like people just refused to do those 2 dungeons. It's pretty funny. Oh ho, footprints. We must track the whatever we're tracking. We must track it. Track it good now. Gotta track it good. Track it real good. I hate how long some of these like interaction things are. It's just, does it really have to be that long? No. No, it doesn't have to be that long. Like really, these footprints, like, I have to spend that long looking around. I'm a big whiny baby and I know it, but it's still like, come on, that's so long. So long. Can I even fit under this? Okay, I can. So cold. I want to go home. Hello. Ah, please don't eat me. I'm not nearly as succulent as I look. It's all skin and bones underneath, I swear. Sophie, it's you. Thank goodness you're here. It's been awful. The Garleans were snapping at our heels like a hungry pack of wolves. I was so hell-bent on evading them, I almost ran headlong into a monster's gaping jaw. Thrice! And when I finally found cover, it hit me how cold and hungry I was. But Biggs, he isn't here. He went off in a different direction to lure our pursuers away. It's me, Sid. Have you had any success? Track down Wedge. That's wonderful news. Now, what of Biggs? I see. Well, it hardly surprises me that the big fellow went off as he did. For all the tongue lashings he gives Wedge, he's always taken care of him. I've scoured the area surrounding the Darkhold, but have nothing to show for it. At any rate, we know for a fact that Biggs headed west. With both Ida and Y'shtola helping out, I'm sure he'll turn up soon. This spot right here where the water's like around the rock doesn't make sense to me. The weird visual glitchy kind of thing there. Now then, I'll make my way over to your position while keeping an eye out for Biggs. If memory serves, there should be an Ishgardian fortification not far from to your west. Monument Tower, I believe it's called. Let us meet there. Dare I hope? Was that Master Garland you spoke with? After 5 long years. Thank goodness he's alive. I'm feeling better now, Sophie. Let's go to the Monument Tower and wait for the chief to arrive. Well met and welcome, adventurer. What brings you to this frozen corner of the realm? Oh, it would seem your companion has caught a chill. Come and warm yourself by the fire. I will bring you a hot broth. How are we feeling now then? Stay here as long as you need. The same goes for you, friend. 'Tis plain you have a hard journey ahead of you. You must find rest when you can. I'm fine now, thanks to you, but I can't bear to think that Biggs is still all alone in the cold with Garleans on his heel. He lured the enemy away for my sake, and now he's suffering for it. I hate to have to rely on you again, Sophie, but do you think you could search for Biggs? I haven't the slightest notion where he might be at the moment, but maybe, just maybe, the people here have seen something. Rogadin gentleman dressed in the same manner as your companion? I'm sorry, but he did not come by here. Let me think a moment. I would not raise your hopes unduly, but there is a cave situated a short distance to the south. We call it the Fury's Gaze, and it may be worth the while to investigate. I make this suggestion only because your friend seems like a selfless sort. Rather than drawing the enemy to this tower, mayhap he elected to pass us by? Mayhap he did. Okay, so here's a little pro tip for you. Don't use AoE here. You'll accidentally pull everything. Yeah, he's not here. Sophie, were you able to learn anything yet? Not in this area. Well, that stands to reason, I suppose, seeing as he was trying to lure the Guardians away from me. But where within the vast sea of snow and ice could he be? We can't give up, Sophie. We must find Biggs before he succumbs to the cold or is recaptured. There must be someone in this tower who can help us, even if it's only to tell us where else to look. Ask them for me. Ask anyone who will listen, and hurry. Biggs' chance of survival grows slimmer by the moment. You know, while I was at that cave, Wedge, you could have run up here and asked this question. You didn't have to wait for me. You could have run all the way up here and asked this dude up here if he had any idea where Biggs might be and gotten an answer, and then been ready when I came back and been like, I got some new info for you. I got up off my butt and went to go help. Your friend is lost in the wilderness, you say? If he is not to be found around here or in the vicinity of the Darkhold, it is possible he made for Whitebrim. To reach it, one must travel through Danafin Pass, the southern end of which lies to the north and east of here. While I make no guarantee that your search will bear fruit, it is surely better than worrying in idleness. I wish you luck. Oh, and one more thing. Do tread warily when climbing the stairs here. Not a moment ago, I nearly broke my neck when I slipped and took a tumble. I don't remember. Does this let you? Yes, it does. Okay. Kind of cool that you can go all the way up here. But unfortunately, even with the best settings on the graphics, you really can't see anything right now because it's foggy. So, whoops. Can I go in here? Nope. Stupid weather being foggy. I was gonna try to show you a cool overlook of the area, but that didn't pan out at all, did it? No, it did not. You want to do something different instead? Let's go for the fire pit. For the fire! Nope. Oh well. That was close. Spider-Man, or not Spider-Man, Iron Man landing right there. Full set of armor, drop all the way down, just like Iron Man.